Hello and welcome back to Speed Freak Garage, home of PowerSports on YouTube. So we just finished a 3-week long project where we've installed 3/4 inch PEX across the entire shop in order to feed air for the foreseeable future, meaning the 3/4 inch PEX at 100 foot will deliver 75 CFM, which is basically good forever. I could never use that much air. Whereas those of you who are tempted to go with the 1/2 inch PEX will find it's limited to 25 CFM at 100 feet. And if you have 3 tools running, then you're out of air. So I couldn't take that chance. So before you guys ask any questions, every single thing that I've used for this project is posted in the description along with some more detailed information. So please read the description before asking questions. Okay. So we start with a cheapo industrial air, about $400 air compressor from Buckeye. It turns on at 125, shuts off at 155, which is exactly what we need. So make sure you do your break-in procedure, which is 30 minutes using the oil it comes with, and then drain that oil and get some good high-dollar synthetic oil. You can see it's right where it belongs. Okay, make sure you have more than 12 inches from the wall. I have 14 inches from the wall, so I'm cutting it close for airflow. All right, then we come down to a 3/4 ball valve, and we used this yellow gas tape on all the fittings to make sure there were no leaks. So 3/4 ball valve to a 3/4 jumper hose with a swivel, and this jumper hose is super thick rubber because it prevents the vibrations from the tank getting to your rigid fixtures on the wall. So then we go to a 3/4 nipple to a 3/4 SharkBite slip joint, because what we did is we took some water traps down here at the bottom and we go 12 feet up, and then we go around, and then we go 12 feet down, which cools the air down, and all the water will come out the bottom whenever you want to get the water out. So then from here we have a very short run of SharkBite, because this is at 155 PSI, which is 5 PSI from SharkBite's maximum. So as you can see, I use genuine SharkBite components here. No cheaping out when you have that much pressure running around. Then I have a 3-stage regulator dryer. So this is a also oil filter. So I think it's dry, oil, dry. This is 3/4 too. So 3/4 all the way through, super high flow. I have this set on 135. So all the rest of this pipe is at 135. And that's just more for safety than anything. So then we have 3 of these. So these are super cheapo. I had to put a ton of tape on them so they wouldn't leak. Super cheapo Amazon air fittings and blocks with drains. And again, there's 3 of those all around the shop to drain out water. Then we have these little plastic clip things that are basically worthless unless you're going straight up a wall, which is what we did. We went up the wall, we went around. We have copper pipe straps all along the ceiling where we have weight hanging down, because those plastic clips would not hold the weight, and I found that out the hard way. So we go all the way around 30 feet, we go around a nice gentle curve, and we go all the way down 50 feet to the other side of the shop on the other side of the curtains. And then here we have a T, and the T goes down to another thing. And there's a reason why this is crooked, and I really don't want to talk about it because it's depressing and it's gonna give me nightmares. It's gonna be crooked forever. So I was originally gonna do like a little dip and a swoop to collect water right here, but the 3/4 PEX is just way too stiff. So then we go down, and then on the other side of the curtain there's another drop. So that's 3 drops, feeds the whole shop. And this is strong. There's a stud back here, so this is in a stud in case somebody trips or pulls the hose. I do have a hose reel, it's just too heavy to mount on the wall, so I haven't figured that out yet. If you're still interested in more detail, I have a tutorial literally coming up right after, well, coming up right now. So anyway, this has been Speed Freak Garage, home of PowerSports on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more videos like this V8 LS swap Porsche 944 full and detailed tutorial coming up right now.
Okay, so we're going to do a voiceover for this. We're starting with our industrial air compressor. We reinforced the pallet. We have 200 feet of PEX. I only ended up needing 100 feet, so that was nice. We got all the fittings. Everything's ordered in here, and luckily the local Buckeyes has extra SharkBite brand. And then here's our regulator. Make sure you inspect your SharkBite hose because mine came with a defect and I lost about 10 feet of hose thanks to that. My first try at straightening this hose, and the 3/4 supposedly is harder to work with, was an absolute nightmare, and nothing I could do could get it straight. However, I did some Google searching and came up with basically getting a 10-foot 1-inch PVC pipe and then shoving it through the pipe actually did a pretty good job. Or you could leave it in the pipe if you need a super straight piece that's 10 or 12 feet long. Okay, so here you can see we made our turnaround for the top of the air condenser, and it is going to be mounted all the way up 12 feet at the ceiling. And just kind of showing off how I anchored it to the top, not the best solution. But one thing to note, always deburr the copper pipe before inserting it into the SharkBite fittings, and don't forget to use your depth gauge. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can through voiceover with the cats making a bunch of noise in the background. But you can see I'm measuring the distance from the top to about where we want these fittings to end. And then you take that measurement and you add 1 1/4 inch on each side for the insertion depth into the fitting. And it's better to have a little extra copper pipe or a little extra PEX tube, and then you come back later and you can shorten it because you can reuse the SharkBite fitting up to 3 times. Here's an example of how we're reusing the building's anchors to add pipe strap. So here I'm just kind of showing you how we mounted the ball valves. We've got our copper pipe going up 12 feet and then down 12 feet. They recommend about 25 feet of copper pipe to let the air cool. And then a close-up on how it's anchored. So some of the original building screws and then also some new screws, which some of them are going into studs, some just sheet metal. Here I'm locating and mounting the regulator dryer, and yes, I know it's backwards. I didn't realize until almost a week later and had to rebuild the whole regulator. I forgot to take video of this part because I'm super smart, but here's the setup and how I'm orienting it, and then here's the other run of copper pipe including the SharkBite. Okay, so here I'm trying to use the bend support. It's total garbage, don't even bother. Seriously, don't even bother with that piece of shit bend support. Just make a nice gentle curve. I wasted so much time and put a hole in my wall for no reason. I should probably mention this is definitely a 2-person job, but anyway, we're coming down from the ceiling, down along the wall, past a T for the regulator, and then it'll come down to an airdrop, which I am using everything I possibly can to try and straighten the pipe out, and it is a god-awful nightmare, and supposedly it's more of a 3/4 PEX issue. So I didn't learn my lesson about the bend support going up the wall to the ceiling, so I also decided to try to use it to make a turn on the ceiling, and using this ladder to support the pipe because I was on my own. Again, this is a 2-person job. Seriously. The bend support is so worthless that you'll see I had to use zip ties just to hold the pipe in there and then wait like 3 days for the pipe to slowly conform to the proper shape so I could release the zip ties and then throw away the bend support because it's garbage. So I finally came to my senses and removed the bend support, and you can see it's kind of relaxing and creating a nice gentle curve that in my opinion looks way better. Across the ceiling, we removed the bend support there, and it all kind of just fell apart. So I'm adding another copper anchor, and then I'm going to bend it around, and hopefully everything will come out nice. And there we have it. This is actually the part where I almost got pulled off the ladder because the PEX popped off one of those copper tabs, and it wrapped around me and tried to take me down the ladder with it. So again, 2-person job. So we got our first airdrop done. I'll kind of show how it went together a little later, but as you can see, you got a chuck, you got a water drain, it's into the PEX, it's mounted into studs so it doesn't get ripped out. It goes up the wall, through the T, and then all the way up and around a nice bend. So I think it came out pretty good. Again, the regulator's backwards. I'm going to fix it later. You know, water drain, blah, blah, blah. You can use whatever air chuck fittings. I don't care. Do what makes you happy. So even though I went through 6 years of engineering college, I somehow managed to completely miss the giant arrows on the regulator saying, hey, this is a one-directional component. You're going the wrong way. Good job. Hope that degree really helped you out in your life. So this was put together using an air outlet kit from Amazon with some extra stuff from Milton. And a SharkBite bullnose to get to the 1/2 and a AN wrench. That is a legitimate adjustable AN wrench. It works way better than a pipe wrench. So if you do need to rebuild your regulator, only 2 Allen screws and the whole thing literally just falls apart, so be careful with that. And the O-rings, do not pinch or lose the O-rings, because even the slightest little nick on that O-ring or that mating surface and you're totally screwed. And now it's fixed. Good job. Totally earned that Bachelor of Science degree. Yeah. Going the right direction. Congratulations, winner. Okay, so we made a lot more progress. We're to our second airdrop where we're putting in a T instead of another water trap because the PEX is so hard to work with. Comes down the wall on the plastic supports, and to our second airdrop, which is mounted 2 studs. It's crooked. I know I broke a screw off back there. I want to forget about it. So again, our air compressor is at least 12 inches from the wall, 14, 15, whatever. So we move the air compressor into place. It's on the pallet. Yes, I don't care. I reinforce the pallet. We've got our jumper hose hooked up, and it's downhill so water doesn't collect in the hose. And we're using anti-vibration pads with foam in the middle. We're using 4 pads on each side of the pallet, so 8 total. Okay, and we are basically finished now. So we ran the rest of the line to the other side of the shop. We got our T. Everything's anchored. We pressure tested. It held pressure for a few minutes, and then I recorded it at 150 psi and went inside for the night. And again, this really wasn't a tutorial, so sorry. But anyway, thank you for watching Speed Freak Garage, home of PowerSports on YouTube. Please stay tuned for some more awesome videos about race cars.
Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive